Welcome in, everybody, to the Lausanne Diamond League recap pod. I am Kevin. He is Gordon. This is the FloTrack podcast. Our email address is FloTrackPodcast at gmail.com. Going to run through some of the highlights from this meet that just wrapped. So if you're watching live, feel free to drop some questions and comments in the chat. I said before, this is going to be an all-time meet. Might have oversold it a little bit. So I want to start off with an apology to everybody. You probably tuned in anyway because you're a track fan and you're following the Diamond League and you saw the big names. But maybe there's one or two people out there who tuned in to the meet because, like, man, Kevin really, really, really sold that meet. And he's not usually the guy for hyperbole. Usually that's Gordon. So maybe I need to make some special time on Friday to watch this meet. I would like to apologize to those one or two people out there at the beginning of the show. I'm sorry. This did
I
not
think
go
we
the
need
way
to
I thought it was
start.
going to
We need to start a new segment called Apology Cam, where you just go
go.
full cam and you
Straight.
just apologize to the audience for your misrepresentation of a take
I'm
or
sorry.
your preview
Sorry.
or your reaction.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, but like it makes sense. All the best runners were there. They all, coming off of great performances, weeks or at Europeans or at previous Diamond Leagues. It made
Mhm.
sense that looking at the lineup that we would have a lot of fireworks. But hey, they're human. They're not robots. They don't always put on all-time marks. They're all-time marks for a reason. They don't happen all the time unless you're like Mondo Duplantis. So in this
Mhm.
situation, you know, I think it's kind of you can't really be disappointed because it's kind of what you normally get. I mean, people ran
Well,
well, people won races, and
yeah, but then you look at last year post Olympics. There was a lot of great meets. Monaco this year was really good. We always have good post Worlds or post Olympics meets. We just never know where they come from. The weather didn't
yeah,
help either. They kept saying it was chilly out there. That certainly didn't help. Obviously, the women's 100, there was all sorts of other stuff going on in that race. But just as a whole, like, what's the headline? I mean, to me, I think it might have been that last race, the men's 200. Do you think that was the headline race from this meet?
Well, I thought the headline was when all the Jamaican women came back and they ran in that 4x1 and they broke the world record. You didn't see that part?
So that would have been an awesome plot twist, and that would have changed everything that I thought about the meet. And I almost thought that for a second, like maybe they're all just going to come back. Maybe they're all going to swoop back in. All four of them are going to come together and break the world record, and it would be the ultimate fake out. But no, I think it's Lyles. Is it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not.
It's
I mean,
Lyles. I
despite
mean,
the conditions weren't good, it wasn't particularly a fast day. We know that from the rest of the performances, and he still puts up one of his best times ever. Didn't get a great start, but still runs 1956.
yeah, I mean, he's turning 1956, 19.5s into like a baseline. I mean, think about the first time he ran 19.5 and our reaction, however many years ago that was. We're like, whoa, 19.5. That's a different tier. But now 19.5 is slowly becoming his floor, which shows where he's come from, kind of this roller coaster of a career from 2019 to 2022 with his up and down. And, now he's run in consecutive order 19.3, 19.4, 19.5. I guess when you say it like that, it sounds like he's getting slower, but uh, in my mind, it feels like he's staying on top. He's staying in that super elite range in the sub 19.6s. And, with two more big diamond leagues, probably only one more 200, I would guess. Maybe it's two more 200s in him. I think we might have at least one more opportunity for him to, go after another extremely low time in the 19.3s, maybe 19.2s, and in his world, the
Whoa,
19.1s. But yeah,
whoa, whoa, whoa!
we'll see if that
Wow,
happens. I don't make those
wow!
predictions anymore. I stay away from them.
You are banned from those predictions. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just the consistency is the most important thing here, and doing it on a day when not everybody's running that fast, doing it after a less than ideal start, doing it when you're under a little bit of pressure from Michael Norman, who, by the way, ran a great race, 1976 for Norman. That was a good run for him. Um, I think that I think that speaks volumes about where Noah Lyles is at right now. I know you're big on Norman stock, so I'll give you the floor right now.
Okay. Who has run a faster 200-meter time in 2022? Michael Norman or Kenny Bednarik? Let me do a quick math. Michael Norman's time, 1976. Kenny B's
You don't
time,
need to. Why you got to make it about?
1977. So,
Okay.
based on this math, zero
Mhm.
0.01 faster, Michael Norman may have a case for being one of the top 400-meter runners in the Nike uniform over Kenny
That's
B.
great.
Fred
Why
Curley,
couldn't you just?
Marvin Bracey, Michael Norman, and Christian Coleman.
Not Trayvon Bromell. Trayvon Bromell
No,
doesn't.
because
Oh, sorry.
Bromel's New
Oh,
Balance.
sorry. Oh, that's right. That's
Nike.
right.
Remember Team Nike? Everyone was
Um.
upset with me putting Norman in over
Yes.
Kenny B. Like, Kenny B, he came off of a medal in
Yeah.
the 200. Yeah, well, you know what Michael Norman did? He won gold in the 400, and then he ran a faster time than Kenny B.
I.
All
I
this
wasn't.
saying, Kenny B's going to
I
win
wasn't.
gold in the 200 in 2023, for the
I was.
record. Let that be known. But Michael Norman today should be is a top
Okay.
400-meter runner in a Nike uniform
I
in the
wasn't
U.S.
asking you to rehash your bad take about a hypothetical relay team that's never going to happen. I was asking you to talk about Michael Norman. That's what the question was. Michael Norman. What did you think of his
That's not
race?
what I
Not
heard.
comparing.
What I heard was
I said, what did you
the
think of Norman's
slander that
performance?
I
And you
was
start
getting
talking
for
about.
thinking Michael Norman was a good sprinter.
I always thought he was a good sprinter. I'm not going to get sucked into this. It was at the time who was on the 4x1 Nike. I still stand by it. Kenny B's got a better lifetime best than the 200 anyway. But
Oh,
all
no,
right,
lifetime. We're going to talk about the
you don't want to
past.
talk. You don't
No,
want to
hold
talk.
on, hold
Yes,
on,
we
hold
always
on. Wait,
talk about the past. No, no.
one more
We're moving
statement.
on.
One more
You've lost
statement.
your opportunity.
No, this is an analysis on the race. That opening 80 meters, Michael Norman had Lyles' number. Like, he was out hard. He had the lead
Mhm.
after the turn.
Yeah, he had a
Like,
great run. Yeah, great turn.
Norman kind of fell apart in the end of it, but like, he's going up head to head with the American record holder in a 200, and he's beating him through 100 meters. So I'm just saying, Michael Norman, he deserved to be in that 4x1,
That
and I
doesn't
will continue to
exist
say
and will
that.
never happen. Great. Cool. All right. We're moving on to another event. Let's go to the women's 100. So, supposed to
Which I'd
be
agree with
Fraser
me.
Price first the clock, and then after that, a good battle, potentially one of the deepest races in history with Shrika Jackson, Toulouse, Elaine Thompson Hurrah in that field. Fraser Price pulled out before the race, posted on Instagram, had some issues that she felt in warm up, so she did not run, and that was a big blow to the race because you know as much as we thought this was a really deep field, Fraser Price has clearly separated herself from the rest of the women in the 100 this year. Now, with her out of it, you're like, all right, it's wide open. Is it going to be Shrika Jackson? Is it going to be Toulouse? Ends up being Aaliyah Hobbs pulling the upset. There was a false start and a DQ of Elaine Thompson Hurrah. So she was out of it. Although based on this season, I don't think Thompson Hurrah would have factored in anyway. But Hobbs gets the win over Jackson and Toulouse. It was not, unfortunately, the deepest women's 100 of all time, as I predicted. It was just a little bit of a messy race after everything that we had hoped and anticipated it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I started thinking conspiracy theory was like, was Elaine Thompson Hurrah and Shelly and Fraser Price, like, again, this is conspiracy theory, like purposely not running the race to just collect the appearance fee because they want to save themselves for the future Diamond Leagues down the line. That's my first thought whenever I see multiple people not being in a race. I mean, there was people in this race who ran in the B race like a few hours earlier because they just had all these empty lanes as a result. But yeah, it wasn't the deepest race. It's not what you thought it would be. You don't need to tell your kid to remember this date in history. But Aaliyah Hobbs,
Yeah.
you know, this is what we expect from her. She's been super consistent all year round. You know, she's had some great wins. She's had some tough top 3 finishes. And, you know, she beat Shrika Jackson. That's a good
Yeah. Yeah.
person to beat. Like, that's a good thing to put on your resume for 2022. Times are one thing, but like individual head to head win over Sharika in 2022, not many people have that. Like, how many people have beaten Sharika Jackson in 2022 besides
Yeah.
Shelley and
No,
Fraser
you're right.
Price? Not
Yeah,
many
you're
people.
right. Let, let me just rebut your conspiracy theory real quick. So,
Okay.
to me, Fraser Price had discomfort in their hamstrings. If there's anybody on planet Earth who should have discomfort in their hamstrings based on what they've been doing the last month, it's Shelly and Fraser Price because all she's
Good
been
point.
doing is running 10-6 over and over and over again. And you got to figure there's a point when your body's just like, okay, no more. And I could see her not wanting to end her season with an injury or a bad race. Much better not to push it and then try to get one more good one later on because she really wants sub 10-6.
Yeah.
I believe that she really wants sub 10-6, and she probably believes there's not a ton more opportunities to get it. So I really think she wanted to race, but she made the prudent decision not to do it. Still a bummer for everybody who wanted to watch. In terms of Thompson Harab, you think that once Fraser Price was out, wouldn't that increase your desire to run the race? Because now the opportunity is there, and you saw the winning times, 10-8 high. Like that's something she could definitely run. Now you don't see her false start that often. Maybe she was just really, really, really going for an amazing start. But I would think that everybody would want to finish the race, want to be in the race once the big favorite is out of it. But yeah, Hobbs takes advantage. Credit to her. I mean, credit to her for winning this race that if we had betting odds going in, she would have been towards the bottom. And she pulled it off. She gets the win.
If you click on the qualification standings, Colt, on that results, bring that up. So right now, there's still one more women's 100 to be run in the second to last Diamond League in Brussels before the finals in Zurich. And 5 women have locked up a spot on the starting line.
Mm-hmm.
If you look down, look who is just lurking in the potential opportunity to make the final for the Diamond League. A certain athlete, Carrie Richardson. She has 7 points. If she
You said there's one
runs in
more,
the
right?
Brussels meet, she runs in the Brussels meet and runs well, gets a few more points, prevents other people from passing her. There's a
Well,
chance we
you
see
know, I think
Sha'Carri Richardson in the Diamond League final.
Well, I think a more realistic thing is Tamari Davis being in there. Look at where
That
she's
too.
at on the standings. Tamari Davis is what she's got 5 points, so she would need to jump up a couple people, but there's always scratches, so you just need to get into the mix there. Kambunji, I could see getting in there as well. Um, who's that? Okay, so Asher Smith, Terry Hobbs, Nada, 3 Jamaicans, and Toulouse. Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to dive into the possibilities of the Diamond League final later on. Let's go to the men's 15. Jakob, Jakob, Jakob did his thing. 329, made the move from far out. The playbook is widely available. It's not even for purchase anymore. It's free. You can find it anywhere online.
It's in the
The
public
Jakob
domain.
Ingebrigtsen. It is,
Like
yeah, it's in the
Shakespeare.
Wikimedia Commons. You could just Google it, royalty free. You can get your hands on a PDF of Jakob's playbook, and it's go to the front and stay there. I thought the last few meters, maybe they closed the gap just a little bit on him, but I think at that point he was more in celebration mode. Kipsang second, McSwain third. The rest of the field represented the chaos of the 1500 because I thought Chariot would be the guy. It ended up being Kipsang. You thought Oliver Hoare was the guy. It ended up being McSwain. So we had the right countries, the wrong people from the country. And listen, the up and down nature of the 1500 is something that's fairly common. It just doesn't apply to Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's always there, and then everybody else behind him is rotating around and shuffling and having good races and bad. Like Kerr fourth, like that's better than when we last saw him run. Like that's a solid race, for Josh Kerr. Hoare goes all the way down to 12th. Mario Garcia runs well, finishes sixth, but Cherry way back there in seventh. Jakob is the one constant in the men's 15.
Yeah, I mean, not much you could really say about this race. There wasn't that much excitement in it because we kind of knew what would happen. In order for us to get excitement now in a men's 1500, it's either Jakob has to lose, Jakob has to run an all-time great time, or
Yeah.
there's like a fear of Jakob losing, like a nail biter finish. Um, but now we have our um, Diamond League final set. It's Kip Seng, Ingebrigtsen, Oliver Hoare, Timothy Cherry, Jake Whiteman, Michael Rosmies from Poland, Charles Grethen from Luxembourg, Josh Kerr, Jake Hayward, and Mohammed Fatir. So right now,
Hmm.
Stuart McSwain is the first one out. So if someone scratches, he'll get in. I
Hmm.
mean, I think that's a good. That's everyone we'd want in there. So and Jake Whiteman has a spot. He's in the Diamond League, so he has
Run it.
no
Run
reason
it.
not to run
Come on.
the final. Come on, Jake
Come on.
Whiteman, run the final against Jakob Ingebrigtsen. All will be forgiven for the dodging at Europeans or whatever. We won't. We will take that. We'll water under the bridge. Just race them
Mm.
in this Diamond League final.
You get immunity from
Yes.
previous DNSs. All right. I have a question not about the Diamond League. It's about times, and it's about Jakob Ingebrigtsen. It's a multiple part question. So his personal best is
Let me take some
328.32.
notes.
328.32. So in order for him to run a PB, do you think Jakob's PB would come in a rabbited race or a championship race? No wrong answers here. Just your opinion.
I mean, it's going to come in a rabbited race.
Okay. So do you think we will see like in the next year or two, like a legit attempt to get him through 1200 with pacers, or
I think so.
maybe even to I don't know to the backstretch, 300 to go, right? 1200 meters. And do you think we'll see like a legit? Because at that level, it's going to have to be somebody really good pacing him. It can't just be a regular rabbit. Maybe Sawinski could pull it off, but it feels like it needs to be a bigger coordinated effort to keep Jakob company.
Like an and then running type thing. We have like
Not that many people.
all
Although
this.
that would be fun. That would be fun. They're carrying the lights. They're like, the lights are too far if they're trackside. I want you to see them. Look at these lanterns.
They hire
I
like a
just
bunch of
think
robots to be on the track.
remember when Semenya was running all those fast times and it almost didn't matter if there were rabbits. That's sort of what I think about with Jakob. Hey, maybe he doesn't even need rabbits, and since he's geared up for the championships, because his PR comes from the championships, heck, maybe he doesn't even need it. Maybe it messes with him somehow. But then, the scientific side of things tells you, well, if all things else are equal, he could draft and then make a move. And he just is so comfortable though running by himself. I'm interested to know, if he's gonna break into the 327s or faster, like what's that race gonna look like?
I mean, it's going to look like a race. You don't break world records in when you're running to win. That's not when you break the record in distance races. That is like you might
David
do that
Research count?
in lane 9 if you're Wade Van Niekerk because you're just going all out. But like in a 1500 and up, you're never going to run fast, all time fast in a championship race.
Well,
I
he
just
just
don't
did
think
it
it's
though, is
possible.
what I'm saying. He
No,
just
he's
did it
running
in Tokyo.
329. That's different from running
328.
325.
That's his fastest time ever, is what I'm saying. And he's
But
running
that's
plenty of
different
rabbited
though.
races.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's not going to be in the 325 world in a championship
Well,
race. It's going to have to be.
Well, I don't think nobody's gonna be in the 325 world because it hasn't happened yet. Okay, fair enough. I told you there were no wrong answers. There were no wrong answers. I was just curious your opinion. It's something that's starting to ruminate in my brain. I'm gonna come back to this probably in a podcast down the line. So
I
stay
think he goes
tuned.
for it. I think he goes for it post Budapest.
Interesting. He waits that long, huh?
Yeah,
When is Monaco next year? I think that's when he needs to go for. The problem is
yeah,
Monaco
it'll
didn't have a
probably be.
15 this year. Monaco decided to have 1,000 instead of a 15. But we already discussed that. Okay. How about women's 3K? This is probably the most exciting race of the entire meet. Alicia Monson almost won this thing. She made a big move, had a nice gap on everybody on that backstretch, and then everyone, including the commentators, were just like waiting for it to close. Wait, they were so busy talking about all the moves in the pack behind her with Sifan Hassan, with Nian Saba, with everybody moving around, Chibet, that like meanwhile, Monson's inching closer and closer to the finish line. And then you're thinking, is Alicia Monson gonna pull this off? And she just narrowly gets outleaned by Nian Saba. Nian Saba, if her goal was to run like exert the exact amount of energy necessary to win without a drop more, Nian Saba executed that perfectly.
Yeah, and that was like a crazy 10-meter kick. Like obviously she was
Yeah.
closing in on her, but like the move didn't really happen until the final 10 meters, where all of a sudden each stride looked like a stride and a half, and then she had that quick burst.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed with Monson. I mean, no one in the stadium was thinking this is going to happen. I don't think either of you had Monson getting leaned at the tape
No.
by Nian Samba. Thought it was going to be Sifan Hassan, if anybody. But she held on. It was a good time, 8:26, big PB. Monson continues to inch closer and closer to, getting more consistent with these international races, and that hopefully, in these next 2 to 3 years,
Mhm.
she isn't out of place when she's up front at this level. Obviously she's
Yeah.
in place when she's up front at the US level. We've seen that.
Yeah.
She's already established herself there. But
Yeah.
for women's 3K, 5K, 10K running, it's really, there hasn't been many Americans who have been able to kind of mix it up with like the big guns. So this is point oh 0.01 from Nian Saba beating out Hassan.
Yeah.
Like Jabet was in there. It was a good field. So
Yeah. And listen, Nian Saba hasn't run in a while. So you're like, okay, that's fine. But then look at all the other people in this race between Chibet, Hassan, Kip Kemboy, even on the US side, Cranny beats her, beats Laura Muir. Um, number 2 US all time outdoors.
just came out of nowhere. I
Well, one
always
thing I
like it
was
when the records come out of nowhere or the all-time marks come out of nowhere, and
yeah,
there's just no anticipation towards it. And you're like, wait a minute, what? I didn't see that coming.
yeah.
It's more fun that way.
So if you're an American distance running fan, you don't have to think too far back to where an American finishing high up in a distance diamond league was a big deal. It was a huge deal. It's like, oh my gosh, what place did Evan Jager get in the steeple? Because there was a time when there's non-factors in everything. And then that all changed. That all changed, right? Centro wins gold, women collected. Jenny Simpson wins gold. The Coburn Frericks go 1-2. But that distance group where we haven't seen it, I've talked about it over and over again, is the women's 5. And then before the women's 5, it was the women's 3. Mary Slaney did well. But that event group, they've run fast times. The American records have dropped, and the top 10 list has gotten faster. But in championships, they're always out of it. So this had a little bit of a throwback feeling to me of, oh my gosh, an American did that, and especially someone like Monson who hasn't had that big moment yet in her career. And what I was thinking with 100 to go, I was thinking we've watched a ton of Alicia Monson races going back to college. She can kick. She can close. She always has that ability to close. And I don't know if the rest of the field knew that. And she almost was able to get across the line because she can close. She has closed well all throughout her career. And yeah, great race for her, even though she gets second. And great return to competition for Nian Saba. Hadn't run in months. Was hurt.
Yeah.
Missed Worlds. We thought she's going to be a favorite. Comes back and gets the win. You can understand why she left it late. You can understand why she wanted to be the last person to kick. And you can understand why she was probably keying off Sifan Hassan and Chibet and some of these other athletes.
Yeah. And Monson qualifies for the Diamond League 5K final. Pretty cool. She'll be the lone American in that. Bunch of Ethiopians, obviously Nian Saba and Hassan, a few Kenyans.
Mhm.
Great season so far for Alicia Monson.
All right, let's talk about me and my bank account and how I got $37 richer thanks to this women's high hurdle race. Jasmine Camacho Quinn comes through, helps me win the bet. Gordon didn't think anybody would run faster than 12:37. She does it with into a headwind with ease, 12.34.
Oh, come
Times
on.
weren't the times
You're getting a
weren't
little
fast in
cocky
this meet.
here.
Was I nervous when I saw the other times throughout the meet? Yes. tremendously nervous. Not because I couldn't absorb the $37, but because I couldn't possibly absorb months, perhaps years of ridicule from my co-host Gordon Mack. So thank you to Jasmine Camacho Quinn for running this time and getting the win. I'm sure she's happy. She beat Toby Amason, who's a world record holder. Um, Venmo, Cash App, what do you do, Gordon? How do I get the
Hold on. I
check?
just want to know, you were thinking Toby Amisan was going to run sub 12:37.
No, I said there was 4 women this year, I think, who had season best faster than that time that you arbitrarily threw out there. So, thank you.
You got lucky. Can you just admit
I didn't get
that? Can you
lucky.
admit that you got lucky?
No,
Because if you really look at these
no,
results,
no.
that's when when the world record holder is running 12:45. That is not oh yeah, definitely sub 12:37 in this race. Jasmine Camacho
No.
Quinn saved your ass. Barely.
100%, but Jasmine Camacho Quinn has run 12:26. My whole point was the depth of the women's high hurdles was going to prevail here. I didn't say, and maybe if you're better at betting, you would have made it solely on one person. But my whole point was there was a bunch of women. You're the one who almost lucked out because you got the bad weather, you got the headwind, and she still ran faster than that. It could have been a beautifully sunny day in Lausanne, a radiant sky, but instead, actually, I don't know if it was sunny, but it was cold and there was a headwind, and she still did it. I'll ask again: Venmo, Cash App, check. What are we doing here?
We'll do Venmo. We'll do Venmo.
Quarters?
Maybe I'll start a GoFundMe to raise $1 from 37 of our fans, so I don't have to pay it. But no, I'll Venmo
No.
you $37.
Thank you.
No, I
Thank
kind
you.
of wish I only want to Venmo you $34, but I'll Venmo you 30.
I was just going to bet you $10, but you had to
Yeah.
get cocky about it. You had to open
But
your mouth.
I
It
just want
wasn't
you
a
to
great bet.
accept the idea that when we look at these results, you
No, you're
take out
changing the
Jasmine
parameters
Camacho
of the
Quinn
bet.
barely breaking 12:37.
Why?
This
Why would I
is
take
what I
out?
thought would happen. There's a bunch of 12:40 highs. Some, Kenny Harrison's running 12:59. That's what I thought would happen. What I thought would happen happened. I just miscalculated the exact number.
So why would you
This was the
bet? Why
exact
would you
result I
bet
thought would
on
happen.
something? Then why did you bet money on a thing that you thought was going to happen if it put you on the wrong side of the bet?
Because I thought places second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth all finish how I thought would finish. I just
Was
was
that the
off by
bet?
0.03 for
Second
first
place?
place.
Did we bet on second place?
No, but that's how I was making my prediction based off of. I just want you to
You're
know that I
you're
correctly predicted that this was not going to be a bunch of 12 twos.
It wasn't a bunch of 12-2s because in part nothing was fast today.
And I knew
That's
that.
that was a
That's why I
condition.
made that
Oh, because of
bet.
the weatherman Colt told you? Is that what happened?
Yes.
I really messed up, guys. I'm sorry. I thought the weather was going to be fine.
Colt, you can come back from Lausanne now. You've done your duty. Fly
All
back
right.
home.
I'm getting on the plane. Get
Put
on the
on-
plane.
Put it on Gordon's card. All right. Yeah, give me my
How
money.
about this? How about this? You have to let me do a double or nothing.
No, I know when to walk away. I grew up in Las Vegas. I know how this works. I'm walking away. I want my
Either you get
$37.
$10 now. or
No,
you let
that's
me do a
not how it
double or
works. You
nothing,
don't.
and you
This
can
is not a
get-
negotiation. No, that's not how
I'll
bets
Venmo you.
work. You don't get to
I'll Venmo
negotiate
you.
your debt. How about men's high hurdles though? That was surprising. We thought this could be a big Holloway race, and it was not. It was a big Rashid Broadbell race, who is putting together a nice resume. I mean, at this point, we have to talk about this guy as a gold medal threat next year. He won Commonwealth, came back, won a race on the circuit. Now he goes 12.99. Cunningham gets up for second, 13.10. Holloway 13.11, and then Parchment real close for fourth and 13.13. A lot going on here. I guess let's start first with Broadbell. Do you agree? I mean, anytime a guy runs a hurdle time that starts with 12, it's like an
Yeah.
automatic. It's a fast pass, basically. It's a hurdling fast pass. You go to
Yeah.
the front of the line, you are a contender now.
Yeah, for sure. No, he has put himself into that conversation for 2023. I mean, he's in conversation to win the Diamond League final. You're running sub 13. Not many people do that. That means you have a spot, you have a chance, and not to see what Grant's doing, but seeing the way Grant's running, Grant is definitely beatable. We now have seen it multiple times. Grant still is great and still should always be a favorite, I think, no matter what. But like, if you have the talent, you can run 13 flat or sub 13, you know, you're in position to give yourself a chance to win, a realistic and actual chance to win, not just like maybe I'll beat Sydney if she stops and makes dinner and watches a television show for 20 minutes and then continues running and then I'll beat her. It's not like no one's beating Sydney, but like some people will potentially beat Grant. So it's cool. And it's Jamaica now. They have the Olympic champion in Parchment. They have Broadbelt
Yeah,
not
they're
coming
good.
on well, who's going to be looking good in the next few years. How old is he? How old is Broadbelt? Let's scroll up.
Well, I
How
think
old is he?
he's
22.
22, isn't he?
So he's going to be a factor for the next 3 global championships. So it's good for Jamaica.
All right. Now I want to ask you about Holloway. Nobody knows Grant Holloway like you know Grant Holloway. You've covered him for years. You filmed a couple workouts with him. Anybody who's been around you two in the media area know that you two have I'd say, unique relationship. But deep down, he's your guy, right? Deep down, he's your guy.
Yeah,
Would you say?
big fan.
I mean,
Yeah, of course.
he's kind of everybody's guy because he's very personable. What's going on here?
Well, I don't know. First of all, seeing a we know Grant has lost. He wins all the time, but he does lose a couple times. But I was like, when's the last time he's gotten beat by more than one person? Like, it's always just a win or just an upset. I did the math. He has run 46 races in a row since his last time he finished outside the top 2 in a race, with most of those being a first place finish. Obviously, he has loss at the Olympics, loss against Allen, loss in that Continental Tour, but like it's always 1 or 2. The last time he finished outside the top 2 was Monaco Diamond League in 2020, which feels like a fake race anyway because it's the COVID year. But
Mm-hmm.
the guy is either just going to get barely upset or he's going to win. And so now he's having a bunch of these non-Grant Holloway-esque races. You could see maybe he was a little frustrated with the false start. He was the only one that ran all the way to like hurdle 3 or 4. But he's just not able to hold it together in those final 2 hurdles. Again, I know Grant's going to probably look at this as like, hey, it's fine. You don't need to win all of them. Like, it's just a regular season Diamond League race. Like, he's probably going to put a lot more pressure on himself for a world championship, an Olympic, or a Diamond League final. But I don't know. I kind of like it that Grant isn't invincible. Isn't invincible because it means that like there's a chance to see either something special or see an upset. And I don't know. I think what is motivating these athletes? We talked about this. What is motivating these athletes when you have a world championship in July, when they know there's still a whole 8 weeks of running technically
Yeah,
that you can still do? I know you
sure.
have the gold medal around your neck. It's like that
But you
mental
can play that game
aspect is
with
a little
anybody.
focus can be a little off.
Yeah, but they're not running that much. I mean, you could play that game with anybody. You're a competitor. You're a professional athlete. I think everybody goes in there to win. I'm looking at that Monaco race. He lost to Ortega, Pazzi, and Belosien. And it was similar to this race, where there was a big 4 and then a huge gap. And Ortega ran 13:11, and then Holloway was 4th in 13:19. He also has, someone brought this up in the chat, just like it's not one person who keeps beating him, though. It's like a rotating group. He's got the loss to Allen. He's got the loss to Parchment. He's got the losses now to Broadbell. And now Cunningham got in front of him. So that's a little bit different dynamic than if it was just one, and probably it makes it maybe less frustrating. Although, when is the last time Trey Cunningham they've competed with each other since high school? Has Trey Cunningham ever beaten Grant Holloway?
That might have been the first time ever.
Yeah. Can you go to
Bring this up.
profile
Bring
there,
up the
Cole?
matchup. That might
Yeah,
have been the
click on
first
full
time ever.
profile. I mean, we'd have to go, and then if you go head to head there, yeah, let's change the event though. Change the event to 110 hurdles. Yep, exactly. Colts
He might
furiously,
have
and
beaten
then
him
drop
in.
that one.
Oh no, he's beaten
12
him.
to 2. Okay. When was it? Well, no, that's a scratch.
That's a
That other one's
scratch.
a
Okay.
scratch from USA's this year.
Type in 60-meter hurdles. Type in 60
Yeah,
meter
can you change
hurdles.
that to? So I would call that 11-1. And they make you change the thing back. All right, you have to change that again to Grand Holloway. So 4 and
Yeah.
0. Now change the heights. No, go back to the event again, Colt, because I want to look at high school stuff here. Go to 60-meter. Yeah, the 99-centimeter ones right underneath it. Yep, that one. And then try this. We're
Figuring
doing a
this
deep
out.
dive here, folks. 2 and 0,
Nope.
and then do the
All right,
same
now.
thing for the 110s. Do the same thing. Do the smaller height for 110s.
So this might be. Oh no.
1 and
Okay.
1. Okay. So New Balance Nationals in 2016. Because I'm not counting when he's scratched out of USA. He didn't run the race.
Yeah, no, you don't count that. Yeah.
So he's never lost to him at 60, as far as we can tell, high school, college, or pro, and only one other race, which was their first meeting, which was be New Balance Nationals 2016.
That's wild.
13:43 to 13:51. Yeah, crazy.
Look at that
I mean,
analysis. I'm just taking
feels
it
good
in.
for Trey.
The chat's taking it
Well,
in. We're taking it in.
I should have thought of that before and had the stat at the ready. This is what happens when you do the instant pod. Some of the stuff just comes to you like a little too late. And maybe if Cunningham won it outright, it would have popped more into my head. But got to feel good for Trey Cunningham, because there were some years there where Holloway wasn't just beating him, but beating him by a lot. And now he's right back there. So congrats to him. Next event.
And congrats to like just the event, you know, having someone as good as Grant, but then a bunch of people who all can beat the best person makes the event fun to watch.
All right, so I'll just throw a couple other ones out here. You can talk about whichever one you want to. Women's 400 hurdles, that was bull. We had women's 400, and we had men's steeple. Women's 8 as well.
I mean, snooze. I mean, I guess the little Muhammad not running well in the 400 hurdles was a little interesting. She was in it. She had a lead over Femke.
She went out hard.
Yeah. She went out hard. She held on to that through the first 66% of the race, and then just started falling off and then just completely died.
She ran that to win.
Femke continues. Yeah, she was going for the win, and just if the wheels fell off, kind of like how Carson Warholm's wheels fell off at the World Final.
It did
underscore
a situation, though, that's interesting. If you're Femke Bull, you are completely in no woman's land right now in the event. Because you've distanced yourself, and obviously that's not an indication of Muhammad. Muhammad could be closer, as I'm mentioning, but
yeah,
she's 2, and then there's a long way to number 1, because number 1 is second and a half faster than you. So she's just, this photo finish picture kind of symbolizes it, but you'd probably want to put her like in the middle, and then you put another gap in front of her to where Sydney McLaughlin is. Like, it's a tough spot for her to be in. An interesting spot. But I think things are going to change next year, because there's all these moving pieces now with who goes to the 400. The 400 is going to be women's 400 is going to be the most watched, like, off-season property in terms of who says they're going to do it and who says they're not going to do it. That's going to be the thing that everybody's wondering, who moves into that new event.
Do we need to get a Bobby Marks ESPN type person to talk about the salary cap when it comes to the women's 400?
Guys, I just talked with the What if each event had their own representative, like whose job it was just to get the best people? No. Like a commissioner. So if you were the men's 200 commissioner, you had a budget, and your job was to get the best people in the 200. So you're like, forget the 100. Come over here. Michael Norman, come on, man. 1976, run the 200. Like, your job is solely to look out for your event, and you are paid based on how good your event turns out. So you're just doing things.
And then you can do trades.
Yeah, 100%. You're not in the 400 hurdles anymore. We've traded you.
I mean,
because I feel like the 400
meter commissioner, 400 meter commissioner would trade the entire top 8 from Worlds for one Sydney McLaughlin. You can have all the top 8 runners in the world. We just want Sydney.
Well, if Miller Weibo's leaving, it's a it's a buyer's market for
Yeah,
you
free up some
out there.
cap
So you're
space.
on the phone. You're on the phone with everybody trying to get whoever you can to come to your meet. All right,
Did you
women's eight.
see? Did you see?
What?
The track schedule for 2023 came out.
I did. I don't want to talk about it yet, though. I need to dive into it.
Okay.
Let's save that for Monday or Tuesday
Is that for
pod
Monday?
or Wednesday pod. Yeah, we got plenty of time. I did see it's only 9 days, so if you go, you can cut down on 1 day of hotel.
Whoa,
Whoa.
big changes.
37. That $37 you lost, maybe you just made it back right now.
I did. Yeah, that's a good point.
Shout out to. I mean, my quick analysis is the one thing I was looking for is are they going to separate the women's 400 and women's 400 hurdles, and they didn't. That was my main thing. That was what I was looking for. Like when they talk about the 1 and the 200 double being possible, I say congrats. You've just created a schedule that literally anybody could create and has been created since the beginning of time. Like that shouldn't be in your list of accomplishments when you make a schedule. I still think now I'm talking about it after I said I wasn't going to talk about it, which is on brand for me. I still think Sydney can do it though, based on the amount of time she has and the rate and the races that are in place. It's not as if it's impossible. It's not like the finals are back to back or anything like that. There's degrees to this stuff. So it's still in the realm of possibilities, but in a 9-day meet, they could have made it easier and simplified it.
I'm willing to tell you, I guarantee you, when they were making the schedule, there was not one moment where they considered Sydney McLaughlin. They're just like, I don't think they think about the athletes that they have. I think they just think about
Well,
television programming.
2024 they will. I think because they're trying to get it switched. They're trying to get it moved so that the way they know. I think they started this process probably before she'd even talked about it. That's what I'm thinking. Like they didn't do the schedule last week. They
It's not
announced
that
it
hard to
today,
make a
but the
schedule.
schedule
Just be like
it's
100.
not. It's not.
Give me
Yeah,
10
it's
minutes.
not.
All right, go.
And I have a good one from my buddy Jason, who you met in Eugene. He created the perfect schedule that should be used every year, the championships, where every logical double can take place. Like it's not hard. Um, Now it got a little harder because if you keep adding events like the mixed gender 4x4, then you have to move stuff around. Um, but like, remember like Phelps that year in swimming? Like they moved all sorts of events around for him so he could win as much as possible because that was TV. That's what they wanted. They wanted Phelps programming on every single night in prime time. So I think 24 will be the true test if how they make that schedule will be a better indication. Because I don't think my prediction right now is I think she's just going to do one. I think it's going to be the Open 4 next year. That's what I'm going with. And I think the double would come in 24 when much more attention will be on her.
Good pre
Good.
schedule chat because we'll talk about it again next week.
Yeah, sorry, that was all my takes. Probably it's going to sound repetitive when I do it.
I'll
Yulima
have new
Rojas
takes.
won. Okay, good. I'll look at it more. I'll dive in more and find some other issues.
Do you want to play a
Rojas
game? We should
won.
play a game. All right, we have the whole
Oh,
weekend. Let's see if we can memorize the schedule where we're both going to study all 9 days, and then I will pick a day randomly. I'll be like, what is the day 4 schedule? And you have to tell me it, and you do the same thing to me. And then whoever is more accurate wins $37.
no, I'm not betting money. You talk about
That'll be fun.
just the finals or
Just
all of them,
finals. No, you got to do the whole.
Oh.
Yeah, just finals. Just finals.
or just evening. How about just evening session?
No, just finals of the day.
Okay, that's not that hard. Yeah, I'll do that. I don't want to lose my money that I just won from you, but I'll do that.
All right, that's a shake. We got $37. All right, we're going.
Is that a Monday pod or a Wednesday pod?
I don't know.
You
It's a
know how to
pod.
get. Okay, I'm down. I'll do it. You know me, and I love schedules. So
Exactly.
if I do this,
Exactly.
if I do this now, I won't need to do it all next year. So I'll be starting my homework
Exactly.
early.
Start studying now.
Krauser lost to Joe Kovacs, 22-65 to 22-05. Don't see that every day. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that's not surprise. I mean, it's a regular season loss or whatever. But when we're talking about athlete of the year and things like that, like those losses matter. because it's hard to separate really great people. Although I think I know where the athlete of the year is going to go this year. I have a pretty strong suspicion.
Mondo?
Emmanuel Career. Emmanuel Career. Won the 800.
That'd be so good. He's gonna be
That'd be
probably in
amazing.
the top 10. Emmanuel Career is
It better
definitely
not
gonna
be.
be in the top 10. Everyone's gonna be like, why is this guy here?
It's got to be Mondo. Like, there's not even. Is there
I mean,
any close competition?
Lyles is the closest.
Is he really?
If he wins the
In your
Diamond
mind?
League, what's that?
Yeah. Is he? Is he that? Is I'm honestly asking. Do you think he's the next closest?
I mean, I think Krauser is technically the next closest.
Jakob.
Uh,
Jakob, but he
No.
lost.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
gonna be
he's-
Mondo, but
Yeah. Well. Yeah. It's Mondo in a walk. I think you could see Ingebrigtsen, Krauser, or
Lyles.
Lyles getting the invites. Women's
We'll
side.
see. If Lyles goes out and
Shelley-
runs, if Lyles, I mean, this isn't gonna happen, but if Lyles will go out and run the unthinkable in a Diamond League final, they might give it to Lyles over Mondo.
I think it would literally take a world record for Lyles to. If
Yeah.
you're talking about
That's
that,
what I
is
meant
that the
by
unthinkable? Well,
That's the
yeah, okay,
unthinkable.
but that's. I wasn't thinking of it, so you're 100% right. Good call on that one, man. Women, McLaughlin, Fraser Price. I guess you could.
I bet you
say
they give it
Rojas
to
as well.
Fraser Price as a protest vote against McLaughlin because she doesn't run enough meets.
Well, that and we've all said this has been an all-time great season for Fraser Price too.
Yeah.
Just and if she is able to win if she's able to run one more, get a Diamond League win, I think that I don't think too many people would be upset with that. Even though the singular performance or a couple performances from McLaughlin are better, I don't think there's gonna be too many people arguing about Fraser Price. I think Ama's son was interesting, and I mean the postseason losses are gonna hurt her. I think she'll get an invite. She'll be in there, and then
I like how we're doing this pod now.
Faith
At the
Kipyega.
beginning
Yeah,
of
we
the
should
pod.
save this too. Yeah, sorry. Let's end that. Let's end the pod. My apologies.
Spoilers, guys. Spoilers.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah, I
we're
don't-
wasting
this
all
is
of our
dumb.
material.
Well, 'cause
when's the next track meet?
So it's next Friday, isn't it? Brussels.
It is.
Yeah, it's
Well,
next
we
Friday.
have one on August 30th. There's a continental tour on August 30th in Italy.
Are we doing? We're not doing Are we doing a post one for that? No, we're not doing.
No,
a
but
post.
like it's something to talk about. And then the next one is September 4th. So
Yeah,
there'll
that's
be
next
a
Friday.
meet
correct.
on Wednesday and on Friday. Or yeah, I don't know. It's not Friday. September 4th isn't Friday, is it?
What says in
Yeah, it
6
is.
days? Oh no, September 2nd. There's a meet, dude. Brussels
Yeah,
is
September
September
2nd. That's what I
2nd.
meant. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We need to learn our own schedules.
All right, man.
We'll see you Monday at 9 a.m.
Yeah, thanks,
All right.
Colt. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody enjoyed the
Thanks,
meet.
chat.
Again, I'm sorry, not my fault. I tried my best for it to be a good meet, but can't control the weather. We'll see you guys Monday.